La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah,
Today, I recognize my freedom in spirit. I live in a world of infinite possibility, and I have flowing through me a creative stream of life energy, a life energy that creates universes, a life energy that holds our planet in perfect alignment with our sun, stars, moon, and all other planets spinning in our galaxy. The life energy that creates universes flows through my being and my body now. I am alive and aligned with the miraculous. I love knowing that when I focus on all the good available to and for me, to and for us, that we harmonize with life itself. Today, I recognize my freedom in spirit, my freedom to choose. Today, I make choices in my thoughts, in my words, and in my actions that emanate and attract the goodness that is this life. Today, I make choices in my very being that emanate and attract the goodness that is this life. And so it is.
There is no God but one. There is no
Violence is not a cloistered virtue to be practiced by the individual for his peace and final salvation. To practice nonviolence in mundane matters is to know its true value. All virtue ceases to have use if it serves no purpose in every walk of life.
We practice practical spirituality and endeavor to apply spiritual law to every situation and to every circumstance.
Nonviolence is an active force of the highest order. It is the soul force or the power of the Godhead within us.
So, our true nature is to be peacemakers. To the degree that we demonstrate love, compassion, understanding, and forgiveness, we manifest the Prince of Peace in our lives and in our world.
The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is an attribute of the strong.
As we acknowledge there is only one presence and power in the universe, we affirm our spiritual maturity by releasing perceived hurts from our past.
Honest disagreement is often a good sign of progress.
Since there is only one presence and power in our lives, we hold that loving disagreement leads to co-creative solutions and clarity of the highest and best for all.
Whenever you have the truth, it must be given with love, or the message and the messenger will be rejected.
We are the light of the divine expressing. So, on this day and in this place, we commit to speak with love, to act with love, and to be the embodiment of love.
I am a child of the living God, made in the image of perfect love. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender. I surrender. I am a child of the living God, made in the image of perfect love. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender. I surrender.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. So many of us were not here last weekend, so you may have noticed. We have a huge thank you to the Board of Directors for sending 6 of our teachers to an educational retreat. We had a really great time. And we have lots of new ideas that we've brought back to share with you guys, which we're excited about. Today is also Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you for all the donations that you've brought in. And the Uniteens will be going to the Lynnwood Food Bank right after service today to deliver your donations. And so next week when they come back, they'll let you know. They have a huge scale. They'll put all the donations on, and they'll let you know the total weight that we donated. So thanks to everybody who supported that. And I want to give a shout out to, you guys are in for such a treat today. It's an amazing service. And Rafe Pearlman is the guest musician. And what many of you may or may not know is that the reason I am at Unity in Lynnwood is because of Rafe Pearlman. I have been on a spiritual path for about 15 years, and so Rafe has seen me at pretty much every spiritual center in the greater Seattle area. And 3 years ago, he did a New Year's Eve show, and at the end of the show, he said, "Hey, I'm playing at this sweet little church up in Lynnwood." He's like, "You'd like it. It's a place you would like." So I arrived that day. It was the first Sunday in January 3 years ago, and I have been here every Sunday ever since then. Since the kids don't get to hear Rafe, I'm going to ask him to do a quick bird call for the kids to hear. Thank you.
I'm not going to attempt that. Thank you for being our family. Thank you for being our friend. Thank you for blessing and teaching us. God bless you. Amen. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender.
Well, good morning and welcome to Unity in Lynnwood. We are so very glad that each and every one of you are here. You know, I know that each of us has an impulse that brings us here on any Sunday morning. It may be that you come for the inspiration of the music that you hear, the message that you hear. It may be that you come to find some healing in your life, healing of your mind, healing of your body, healing of your spirit in some way. And this is a place where you can resonate with that healing and bring that to life. It may be that you come for comfort. This is a place where we can lean into the arms of each other during hard times and know that we'll be supported. It may be that you come for a sense of relational connection, just to have the relationships, the friendships that develop and get deeper as we grow together as a community. It may be also that your impulse is to come for challenge. You know where you've been on your spiritual path, and you think you need the encouragement, the challenge to take the next step, the paradigm shift, the game changer idea. This is a place where you can come for that. It may be that you come because if you didn't come, who would play the bass, Jonesy? I don't know. Who would play the drums, Scotty? Right? We all have our special place and our special contributions, and we thank you for your presence here. Unity in Lynnwood is a place of practical spirituality, and we are a welcoming community. This is a place where our explorations of faith meet up with real life, in a place that we can really call home. Today is Sacred Service Sunday, and we practice service as a powerful spiritual discipline here. And here to make an invitation for that is Reverend Nina Clark. Let's welcome her to the platform.
I always love following him because the mic's already up high. Good morning. Live it. Do it. Daily practice of the principles creates a life of blessing. Through thoughts, words, and actions, we live the truth we know. These are just a few of the variations on Unity's fifth principle. In essence, though, they're all saying the same thing. If we want to reap the rewards of the first four principles, we need to put them into action. We need to live them. We need to put some rubber on the road. Dr. Richard just finished teaching Unity Basics based on the book, The Five Principles. While I was only able to attend one of the classes, I read the book anyway because it's one of my favorites. In the chapter on the fifth principle, in which the author, Reverend Ellen Davenport states as expressing God, yet another variation on the fifth principle, I discovered the following. What happens is that people who are living in principle notice their cups overflowing and want to give from their abundance. And as an aside, I need to mention that she's not just talking about financial abundance. She's talking about the consciousness of abundance. They do not take action as much as they provide service. They see what needs to be done and begin to do it, often unseen and unsung. This happens naturally when we see the oneness in all beings. When we are living the first four principles, service is the next natural step. We were never islands unto ourselves, and we cannot behave as if we are. She goes on to say, service is not subservience, nor a chore to be dispatched. It is the divine in us touching the divine in another. So what does this look like? For me, it's about allowing this greater something to live through us. It's a place of surrendering, of practicing seeing the presence of God in each other, of experiencing God in whatever it is that we're doing. By bringing the principles to life in this way, we learn to be present for the circumstances of our lives in a very different way. When we bring this consciousness to whatever it is we are doing, it uplifts the task. It wakes up our experience of the divine. I'd like to illustrate this with a brief story from my own life. I was in the service industry for most of my adult life. I was serving people, coffee, food, wine, and at one point I was making some seriously killer Caesar salads tableside. I was serving, but I was not in service. And then one day the idea came to me to stop going to work just to make money. Instead, I would show up with the intent of living the first four principles into being, with a consciousness of just being of service to everyone in my workplace. The result was nothing short of miraculous. My coworkers started getting along better. Frowning, silent customers opened up and became talkative and jovial. We talked about our diverse spiritualities while stocking tea or wiping counters. It truly felt like the divine in me was touching the divine in others. And to my surprise and delight and added bonus, I started making more money. And then my employer asked if he could have me trained to be his bookkeeper. And those skills I acquired there led me to bookkeeping here, which in turn led me to this moment here with you as your associate minister. By showing up with just the intention of living the first 4 principles into being, everything changed. The goal of Unity and Lynnwood's service program is to provide you with many opportunities to practice this consciousness of service with others who are also practicing. Additionally, on Saturday, February 25th, you are all invited to our now quarterly service connection, where we will create and deepen connections between all the service teams and brainstorm together how to ignite the consciousness of excellence in our service work here at UIL. I invite you to get involved. The sign-up sheet is back at the welcome station. Put this practice of service into practice in your own life and experience for yourselves the upshift in consciousness that occurs. And now I get to put a different hat on and have a second invitation for you this morning. I'd like to invite you to the upcoming World Religions class that I'll be teaching based on Houston Smith's book, The World's Religions, which I was just told is sold out of our gift shop, but you can get it on Amazon and it's available on Kindle. So why study world religions? In Smith's own words, we are about to begin a voyage in space and time and eternity. The places will often be distant, the times remote, the themes beyond space and time altogether. We shall have to use words that are foreign. We shall try to describe the states of consciousness that words can only hint at. But if we lay aside our preconceptions about these religions, seeing each as forged by people who are struggling to see something that would give help and meaning to their lives, and if we then try without prejudice to see ourselves what they saw, if we do these things, the veil that separates us from them can turn to gauze. This 4-week series will start this Tuesday at 7 p.m. and will be launched by Rabbi Ted Falcon, who will be speaking on Judaism. And of note, Rabbi Ted will not need the Houston Smith textbook. Blessings to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Nina. Not only is service a powerful spiritual discipline that we practice here, and adult education, a powerful spiritual discipline, prayer is that as well. We have lots of ways that we are your team supporters in prayer. If you would like to put a request on the prayer slip in the seat back in front of you, you are welcome to do that. That may be something in your life that's happening that you are so joyful about that you just really want to express that here and ground that and amplify that, give gratitude for that. It also may be something that you're struggling with that you would like to get, to invite a broader perspective in your life. You will get lots of prayer support if you fill that out and put it in the offering basket as it goes by later in the service. You can also call our confidential prayer line anytime during the week and put a prayer request on our website as well. We have prayer chaplains that support us every Sunday morning, and if you want a time of personal prayer, you can come up to the front of the sanctuary and meet with them. And I'd like to introduce them now just by having them stand. Our prayer chaplains, can we recognize you? They surround us and they uplift us with prayer, and we thank you for your support and the service that you provide our community. Dr. Richard shared with me some words this week about prayer that I love. And so I am going to, if you're open to it, I'm going to share them with you as well. He says this, I'm thinking about it this way. Ours isn't to continue to imagine that we are to bring human circumstances to God, but to grasp that we are to bring a consciousness of God to human circumstances. We do that together. One particular form of prayer that we practice is that of affirmative prayer. And I'm going to share some words that are a bit of a mashup between Dr. Richard and Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, Charles Fillmore, and our present guy who is our inspiration every Sunday. They say this, Affirmations are positive statements of truth. By affirming truth, we are lifted out of false thinking into the consciousness of spirit. Affirmation is not a practice through which we attempt to make the untrue true. Affirmation is a practice through which we attempt to harmonize ourselves with that which is eternally true. Thank you, Dr. Richard. Today's affirmation is on the screen behind me. I love this one. It's a challenge, and it's an inspiration. I'm going to go ahead and read it once, and as I do, I'm going to invite us to take this on and then have you join with me. I am God's prayer for life, love, and wisdom in our world. Can you join me in that? Let's stand. And together. I am God's prayer for life, love, and wisdom in our world. Yes, we are. Let's take a few minutes to greet those around us, and we have some fantastic music on its way.
Get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, hey.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Woo! Good morning, Unity in Lynnwood. Good morning, Unity in Lynnwood. Good morning, Unity in Lynnwood. If you are joining us via the internet, we stand with you. Good morning, Unity in Lynnwood. We'd like to issue an invitation this morning on Valentine's evening, February 14th. We are offering a recurring event that we call Chocolate Cabaret. It's subtitled An Evening of Decadence. It's an evening of beautiful love songs, of rich chocolates, of wine. Tickets are $25. They're available in your spiritual gift shop.
First time ever I saw your face,
Uh-oh.
I thought the sun rose in your eyes, and the moon and the stars were the gifts you gave to the dark and the endless skies, my love, to the dark and the endless skies.
Every service has an ambassador. This person's role is to support you in your exploration and discovery of this evolving divine idea we call unity in Lynnwood. If you have a question about who we are, about what we believe, what we teach, about what is available to you, please engage this noble soul in conversation. I promise you won't forget the first time you saw her face. Nan Allen, will you wave to these kind people, please? Cherished regular at UIL and beloved father of Reverend Nina Clark. Dr. Jim Clark moved into invisibility at the tail end of the blood moon eclipse. As his daughter wrote, what a poetic choice for such a deeply spiritual man. So to Jim, your community stands for you as you discover the nature of soul through this new beginning. And to Reverend Nina, to Mother Kathy, to Tanner, to Madison, to Susan, and to each other, your community stands with you as you navigate the privilege of humanity through your new beginning.
shall be carried. Carry us home, as we shall be carried. When we lay down our fears, down our fears, down our fears, only love remains here. There is only love, only love, only love, only love, only love. Love, love shall remain, yes. Love, love shall remain, praise its ways. Love and our love shall remain, shall remain. Love, love shall remain. Color, caste, no creed. Underneath all the same color we bleed. I don't care what we practice, practice or preach now. Only love will now. Love, love shall remain. Only love, love shall remain. Shall remain. sing it with us? Make me an instrument, Lord of thy peace, Lord of thy peace. Make me an instrument as I release, as I release. Make me an instrument, humble and free, humble and free. Make me an instrument, the living Christ. The living Christ is in me. Sing it out. Make me an instrument, Lord of thy peace. Make me your instrument as I release. Make me an instrument, humble and free, Lord. Make me an instrument. Christ is in me. The living 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 Christ is in me.
The words of the invocation were used by Charles Fillmore. If you feel so inclined, repeat after me. I am. I am now. I am now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. I acknowledge your presence and your power. O blessed Spirit. In your divine wisdom. Now remove my mortal limitations. And in your pure substance of love, bring into manifestation my world according to your perfect law. So I'd like to welcome you to a lesson I've entitled Be Still and Know. But because Rafe Pearlman is in the house this morning, I might do better to call it an experience or an event, perhaps even an occasion. So I'd like to welcome you to an occasion I've entitled Be Still and Know. That does seem more fitting, don't you think? Besides, the idea of a lesson seems so very scholarly, so very academic, so very classroom. When Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore and every... I'm watching the video. When Fillmore and every other avatar remind us that to attempt to reduce God, the universe, ultimate reality, the name is always more of a problem than a solution, you understand. That any attempt to reduce God to that which the intellect alone can apprehend is to not deny oneself of its fullest fruits. So let's abandon ourselves to an occasion this morning. An occasion which extends around, stretches over, presses through, and leaps beyond that intellectual self of us to awaken something of a soul knowing. If you are willing to do so, if you're willing to abandon yourself to such an occasion, turn to the soul who sits to your right and say, I'm willing. And if you're willing to abandon yourself to such an occasion, turn to the soul who sits to your left and say, I'm willing. And then turn to someone else just for the fun of it and say, I'm so glad you are here. It's a provocative idea, really. It's a provocative idea which would have us respond counter to the ways of society. After all, when life happens, to respond from the mind of society is to man up. It's to fight hard. And by all means, it's to do more of what you were doing before than what you were doing before. When life happens, to respond from the mind of society is to respond with a consciousness of doingness. And yet there's the wisdom of the psalmist who counsels even with the first word of the great psalm. Be. Be. The great psalm doesn't start with do, it starts with be. It's a provocative idea that seems to imply that there is something important to the quality of our beingness, perhaps even more important than the quality of our doingness. And Unity would agree with this. We might say that experience is a product of consciousness, and that consciousness exists not at the level of doingness, but at the level of beingness. That's why I always say, let our first prayers be for a consciousness equivalent to the good we desire to experience. Let our first prayers be those of consciousness. Let our first prayers be rooted in that level of beingness. For unless we can be the possibility, we will never be able to sustain the possibility. We might be able to create it. We'll never be able to keep it.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am. Be still and know and be in love. Be still and know I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am. Be still and know and be in love. Be still and know I am.
So if you want greater prosperity, the mind of society says do, but the counsel of the psalmist says be. If you want deeper wisdom, the mind of society says do, but the wisdom of the psalmist says be. In the interest of this 64 ways in 64 days season for nonviolence program, if you want sustainable peace, the mind of society says do. But it's the wisdom of the psalmist that says be.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am. Be still and know and be in love. Be still and know I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am. Be still and know and be in love. Be still and know I am.
The story is told of a band of followers who would seek higher possibility after having been enslaved for so long in Egypt. Perhaps we could say that the story is told of a band of followers who would seek higher possibility after life happened. And at tremendous personal risk, they started for that higher possibility, that promised land, that distant horizon dripping with milk and honey. And isn't there always something of a personal risk, by the way? I mean, while few of us will actually find ourselves navigating that desert, I have to believe that each of us can relate to those hurdles which seem to knock us down, to that history which seems to hold us back with every foray toward higher possibility. So the story is told of that band of followers who would seek higher possibility, ultimately to find themselves stuck between an approaching army and an expansive sea, today's people might be tempted to say they found themselves stuck between a rock and a hard place. And yet when wisdom speaks, the counsel stands counter to every cop show, every Western movie, every hero's tale. The counsel is fear not. And in this text, that source of inspiration goes on to say, fear not. You need only to be still. You see, while the mind of society says, stuck between an approaching army and an expansive sea, do more. But it's the wisdom of the psalmist that says, stuck between a rock and a hard place, do less.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am. Be still and know and be in love. Be still and know I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am. Be still and know, be in love, be still and know I am.
And as you already know, the psalmist goes on to say, be still and know. The psalmist didn't say, be still and question, be still and wonder, be still and plead. The psalmist didn't say, be still and cultivate a consciousness of indecisiveness, of timidity, of doubt. The psalmist goes on to say, be still and know. Be still and cultivate a consciousness of resoluteness, of assurance, of conviction. It was the rabbi himself who is reported to have taught that all things asked in prayer with belief will be delivered. But when we come to understand that the better translation would have been more akin to those things claimed or those things demanded with belief will be delivered, we find ourselves yet again face to face with this consciousness of knowing.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am. Be still and know, be in love. Be still and know I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am. Be still and know, be in love. Be still and know I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am. Oh, be still and know, be in love. Be still and know I am. Sing it out. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am. Be still and know, be in love. Be still and know I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am. Hey, still and know and be in love. Be still and know I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am. Be still and know and be in love. Be still and know I am.
So ultimately, this teaching reminds us that we've operated for far too long under the mistaken belief that we are to bring our human circumstances to God, when in truth we are to bring the consciousness of God into every human circumstance. Yet again, we have it backward. Or as Emmett Fox suggested, in the midst of any and all human circumstances, we are to pause and to consider God however it is that we consider God to be. In the midst of human change, in the midst of human confusion, in the midst of human loss, and in the midst of human endeavoring, dreaming, reaching, we are to pause and to consider God however it is that we consider God to be. And what is this if not a restatement of today's words? What is this if not a restatement of be still and know I am? And so it is that I invite each of us to do just that. To be followed by a time of silence, let's begin by closing our eyes to that outer world. Let's begin by taking a deep breath. And in the midst of human circumstances, such as they are in this moment, let's pause. And open to a knowingness of that love and wisdom of which we are individuations, expressions, extensions. Let's pause and open to a knowingness of that eternal, capital L life upon whose reassuring currents we find ourselves together, holding hands on something of this grand adventure of a human incarnation. Let's pause and open to a knowingness of that higher reality, expansive enough to contain both the apparent beginnings and endings of earthly life. That higher reality which the ancient prophet deduced to be isness. That higher reality which the ancient prophet interpreted to be beingness. Let's pause and open to a knowingness of that higher reality which the ancient prophet translated to be I am. So we hear anew, be still. Be still and know I am.
I gonna
we prepare to re-enter the world, let us hear these words anew. Let us resist the temptation to leave this consciousness at the door of Unity in Lynnwood, to move into a world of separation and fear and look for God. Instead, let's hear these words anew and let us accept a new commitment, and that is to carry this consciousness into that world, to take our awareness of God to all of life. To close as we began, let us entertain the possibility that, yes, indeed, we are God's prayer for life, for love, for wisdom. May this be so, and so it is.
Now's a time in our service where we have an opportunity to give. And as we prepare our tithes and our offerings of love, I'll share these words. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. Promises of spiritual benefits and increase of God's bounty through keeping this law of giving and receiving abound in all the scriptures. We thank you for your gifts to this community.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen.
Let's bless these gifts together. Thank you, God, that your living spirit of truth expressing through us blesses and multiplies all that we are, all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. And so it is. And so it shall be. I love that. Thank you, ushers. We have several things happening here at Unity in Lynnwood that I want to tell you about, but before I get to that, I want to say hello to anyone who might be visiting us for the first time. If you are here for the first time and you'd like us to recognize you, you can put your hand in the air and we'll give you some applause. Anyone here for the first time? Nice to see you. We're so glad that you're here. In the seat back in front of you, you'll find a newcomer's information card telling you a little bit more about our community, and you'll also see a Stay in Touch card where you can put your contact information to have a couple emails come your way each month that are packed full of information and inspiration about things happening in our community. And to the left of the door, just as you leave the sanctuary, there's an information rack that has a DVD in it and some information about our community as well. And for those of us who might be joining us for the first time online, we say welcome to you as well, and you'll find all that same kind of information online as well. We love our online community as well. It's growing. Please visit the Welcome and Information Station in the back for a postcard detailing the following events. Looks like this, and you can register back there as well. Interfaith at UIL presents Rabbi Ted Falcon this Saturday. Leap into the ancient map of consciousness called the Tree of Life, the image at the heart of the Kabbalah that helps us recognize the stages of consciousness expressing as all creation, and enjoy spiritual Saturdays with Rabbi Ted and an inclusive Eucharist Mass with Mother Kathy on upcoming Saturdays as well. Next Sunday, UIL's Health and Wellness Ministry offers a workshop entitled Tapping for Health and Wholeness. Learn this easy, highly researched and validated technique for reducing stress and supporting wellness. Tapping refers to an energy psychology skill called emotional freedom technique. I actually personally love this technique, and it's been very helpful in my life. So I'm glad that we're doing this. And join co-chair Nancy Joy for this month's movement experience, The Body is a Temple of the Soul, themed Watch Love Rise. Bring a yoga mat or blanket, and please register. And 2 events support the Lynnwood Food Bank. Our Youth and Family Ministries facilitates Super Bowl Sunday, which you heard about earlier today. And UIL's local humanitarian outreach ministry accepts disposable diapers over the next 3 Sundays. If you prefer to give funds, please note Super Bowl or local humanitarian in the memo section of your check. And thank you for your support to these beautiful causes. If you'd like to display your art in our next Artists Hallway, beginning March 4th, grab an application for that. And finally, our shuttle ministry invites you to ride the shuttle on February 18th for the 2nd annual Rider Appreciation Sunday. Woo! We can't miss that, right? But wait, there's more. A token of appreciation will be given to every rider. What could that be? Door-to-door service. What a luxury. All good things happening at Unity in Lynnwood can be found, of course, in your printed program, on our Facebook page, or the calendar page of our website at unityinlynnwood.org.
I'd like to invite Rafe back for a special invitation.
Hello. It's so wonderful to be with you again. Thank you for having me, truly. I needed this morning. Mwah. I just started a series. I'm going to start a monthly series of voice play shops, so I want to encourage you to come and sign my email list. And this might even be something I'd be open to do up in this corner of the woods, too. So come and express interest. Maybe I'll do it in something special for you guys. So that's something really juicy. And then I want to say coming up is a very special show this Saturday night, 8 to 10 p.m. at Benaroya Hall. I'll be performing with Andre Ferriante, one of the most Northwest's most premier classical guitarist and flamenco guitarist, and we have this beautiful arrangement. He does this yearly Valentine's Day concert, and it's on February 10th this time. So please, I have, I think, 7 tickets that are a discounted ticket so that I can give away, so come see me special for those, and bless your hearts, and I hope to see you again soon. Mwah.
Rafe also has product for sale. He's got jewelry and print art and music. I mean, it's amazing. So please stop and visit that in Friendship Hall. If you'll join me, we'll sing our peace song.
Now, Ken, we've been together for some 5 hours this morning, and the entire time you have kept a football tucked neatly, and yet I really want to throw it. All right, let's take a deep breath. In my imagination, that was a perfect Russell Wilson spiral. Let's take a deep breath. If there's a first name of any soul whom you would like to introduce into this consciousness of love and support, please do so now. So yes, and yet again, on behalf of all those names issued, whether with the human tongue or the human heart, on behalf of all who visit us via the internet, on behalf of all ears which have turned a spiritual ear to this conversation, we come into a place of God knowingness. We come into a place of God knowingness, and so it is that with great faith and with great boldness, we lift our voices together and we speak these closing words. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
The light of God surrounds us. The power of God protects. The presence of God watches over us, and all is well. The love of God enfolds us. Wherever we are, God is. We are safe, we are cherished, and all is well. All is well.
We close our time as we always do by speaking our words, and so it is. And so it is. And so it is.